Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. Who is he? Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. And who is he? Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. And what he do? And it's gonna react to all the self-snitching.
Hi, this is Bruce Rivers. Welcome to another episode of Criminal Lawyer Reacts. I'm Bruce Rivers, board-certified criminal defense lawyer. And today we're going to talk to you about Samir Woods. Samir Woods, also known as Lil Uzi. Now, he was former boyfriend-girlfriend with a gal by the name of Brittany Bird. And Brittany Bird made allegations that he assaulted her, both with a gun and assaulted her physically. He put a gun into her stomach and then he struck her. Now, the alleged incident took place at a Dialogue Cafe in West Hollywood, okay? And so apparently, as the story goes, is that Lil Uzi saw that she was talking to St. John and possibly talking about some kind of business deal. Well, that pissed him off, and he gets out of his car and tries to hit St. John, falls to the ground, and then comes up, and goes to confront him, and he puts a gun in her stomach and strikes her. Never a good plan. Never a good plan. When you act out of anger and jealousy, never a good plan. Because you know why? You're a guy. It's never going to fucking end well for you if you're hitting a woman. Period. And it didn't end well for him here. So he rolled up and confronted everyone at the table before getting into it with St. John. According to sources, Uzi threw a punch at St. John and missed. And when Uzi fell down, his gun fell out on the ground. And then that's when Brittany got up from the table and approached Uzi. And he allegedly hit her and put the gun in her stomach. Now, he's really lucky that gun didn't go off, and he's lucky he didn't have a more severe penalty. The prosecutors followed through with criminal charges. They charged him with 3 felony counts: assault with a firearm, criminal threats, and domestic violence, as well as 1 misdemeanor charge of carrying a loaded firearm. Lil Uzi had pleaded no contest. I'll tell you what that means in a minute. To 1 felony count of assault with a firearm and 1 count of misdemeanor injury to a person, to a girlfriend. In other words, a domestic assault. Now, when you plead no contest, you can either plead guilty or not guilty. In some jurisdictions, they have a thing called no contest, and basically, you're not admitting to the conduct, but you're not saying it didn't happen either. You're saying, you throw your hands up, and it essentially they allow the conviction to go through, but you're not admitting that you did anything wrong, okay? Now, when he pled to this, he was sentenced to 3 years of formal probation. I don't think he got any jail time. 1 year of treatment for mental health and substance abuse, and 52 fucking weeks of domestic violence counseling. He must also pay restitution and comply with a 10-year criminal protective order. So let's break all that down. So that means he's got to do a year of domestic abuse counseling. And guess what happens if you don't do it? They bring you back into court for a violation. And if you don't do that, then all of a sudden you're looking at more jail time, because they're going to hang some jail time over his head. I don't know exactly how much in this particular case, but that's what happens. And when you allow the government into your life like this, all of a sudden, for the next 3 years, he's got the government in his life, whether he likes it or not. And he's got to remain sober. He's got to do counseling. He's got to do domestic abuse classes. That's kind of a lot, especially if you're on a touring schedule. And you've got to keep in contact with your probation officer. You have to remain law-abiding. You have to do all this shit, all because you lost your cool. And here's the thing. I've taken flack for saying this before, but I don't really give a shit, because you never put your hands on a woman. Never put your hands on a woman. Are you listening to me, guys? Never, never, never. You walk away. This could have been totally avoided. And I'm not coming down on Lil Uzi. I mean, he may have had good reasons to be pissed off, because being disloyal or, confidentiality or whatever. But you don't go off like that. I mean, now she's got a 10-year restraining order on him. 10 years. 10 years. So if he violates that, that's another. And and here's the thing: this happens all the time. When I see it all the time, where a guy's got a restraining order against him, and the girl reaches out, and he thinks it's okay, and guess what? She gets pissed off or gets a wild hair up her ass, and she calls the cops. And guess who the restraining order is? It's against him. It ain't against her. So who's going to be on the hook for more jail time and more felonies coming down the pike? He is. So she's got to be in his past, in his rearview mirror. No, don't look back. He should have absolutely no contact. And if anybody out there has got a restraining order on him, don't get hoodwinked into having contact with a woman who just, oh, but I miss you. Oh, I miss you. No. Bad, because guess what? You do something she doesn't like, and all of a sudden, or you don't do something that she wants you to do, and she's being manipulative. You're screwed, because all of a sudden she calls the cops, and you're over at her place as invited by her. Then you look like a stalker, and you're going to get charged with violating that restraining order. And those things are like gum on the bottom of your shoe; they never go away. So here's the other thing. Now, you don't see a federal or a state possession of a firearm in violation of an ineligible person in possession of a firearm. He probably was eligible. However, pleading to a domestic related offense, which is what the last misdemeanor charge is, and the felony offense that he pled guilty to, make him now ineligible. So he cannot possess a firearm. And guess what these guys do a lot of times? They disregard that and don't even take it seriously. Well, if you don't take it seriously, guess what's going to happen? You get pulled over by the cops. They see your record. They're going to look for a gun. They're going to look for weed. They're going to look for this. And this foray, letting the government into your life, is something you definitely don't want. So my hat goes off to him in the sense that he got his case over with. He didn't do any jail time. And really, if he does what he's supposed to do, he probably will get off probation early. That's my guess. But it is a foray in letting the government in. And so the government comes into your life. If you're not careful, it can spin out of control. And all of a sudden, you're dealing with them and dealing with them and dealing with them. I see it all the time, especially on these domestics. Guess what? Works way better than a gun. Flowers. God, I just sounded like Joe Biden there. Flowers sound way better than a gun, right? A compliment works way better than force. If you're with a woman who you have to raise your voice to, get out of there. You don't need to do that. The right woman, the right partner for you is somebody that's going to compliment you, somebody that you're going to go home. You don't have to do that. It's never a good idea to raise your voice to a woman or your hand. Period. And if you do, get the fuck out. Run away. Because guess what? There are tons of fishes in the sea. Plenty of psychos in the sea too. Try to avoid them. And women, you should never be with a guy that is going to raise your hand to you. Period. And you shouldn't do it either. I mean, it happens the other way sometimes. But the onus is on the guy, because if the two of you are fighting and the cops show up, who's going to get arrested? 99 times out of 100, it's the guy. Period. So, and they sometimes they'll just take her statement. They don't even give a shit what you have to say, and they'll just arrest you and see you later. So you're gone for the night, and guess what? You get out of there, now you've got a no contact order. You might not even be able to go home. This is why I hate these domestic cases. Domestic cases suck because they're always, wrought with emotion and with, but she contacted me. I mean, isn't she in violation of the order too? And no, she isn't. Anyway, so Lil Uzi has, a little bit of a road ahead of him in what he's got to do in terms of counseling and substance abuse problems and mental health, whatever that means. I don't know if he's got a problem or if he doesn't have a problem, but he's given the government a reason to look into his life and to control his life. So domestics are nothing to mess around with, and they're not really a protected class. You're not looked at as a somebody that we need to look after. When I say we, I mean the judicial system. So you're better off being kind. And if you are so pissed off you got to hit something, find some fucking sheetrock that you don't have to repair, because that can be expensive too. So So we're coming up on almost 500,000 subscribers. And this is what I want to tell you. We are going to throw a bash here in Minneapolis. So when you watch this, keep an eye out for our numbers. Because once we throw this bash, we're going to invite you all. And I'm going to try to invite as many people as we possibly can. And we're going to have to figure out where we're going to have it and who's going to perform. And it'll be off the chain. So just keep that in your cap. In your Stop Self-Snitching cap. So we'll see you next time here on Criminal Lawyer Reacts. I'm Bruce Rivers. So subscribe, follow, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and we'll see you next time here on Criminal Lawyer Reacts.